Tadvaram Paryaye Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraye Dhimahi Tanno Guruh Prachodayate Om Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. So once again we are all together and continuing our exploration of the spine and yoga. We have seen how the spine is made up of 33 vertebrae. We have seen how the intervertebral discs are very important for optimal function of the spine. We have seen that we have the 31 pairs of spinal nerves coming out. And we have seen that if we want all of this to be healthy, we need to work on maintenance of the curvatures of the spine. Because if the curvatures are working fine, if the curvatures are fine, the way the spine will adapt to the pressures and the demands will be much different than if the curvatures are not there. When the curvatures are there, it is like, there's a saying that the tree that bends in the wind doesn't break. The tree that bends in the wind doesn't break. I think it's a very important saying. And it is used metaphorically for life, that we should be able to adapt to life and, sort of move with the flow. Yet this is very, very true about the spine, because a spine which has its healthy curvatures is going to be able to manage the challenges much better than a spine that doesn't. So maintenance of the curvatures of the spine, it is so true that we need to keep the curvatures healthy, and for that we have these different movements. We have looked at the Chatushpada, the four-footed posture, moving around in it, the Chatushpada Kriya, then utilizing the low, mid and upper parts of our breathing, the Vibhaga Pranayama in the Vyagra Pranayama. Vyagra is the tiger, where we are creating a very beautiful wave with the whole spine. The spine has that beautiful wave-like action starting to happen, and that creates a very beautiful oneness, harmony between all the vertebrae, so they start to work as a team, because we want the vertebrae working as a team. We have then also extended that into the Sharabhasana and the Chiri Kriya, where we are using the feet alternatively, and we are creating an even more prolonged, elongated stretch. So the stretch is becoming even more elongated, and at the same time, when we do the Chiri Kriya, creating a sense of rocking, which is harmonizing. We have also looked at the Setu Kriya, which is for the lower back area. And the moment you bring your feet close to you, what happens is you flatten that curve. So you flatten that curve, and then what we do is, as we breathe, we are raising up. As we lower, we are breathing out. So always breathing in, elevate, raise, breathing out, lower, come back to the place. So these are some of the practices we have been working on. And when people have issues, especially with the lower back, these are practices that are very, very useful for them to keep as part of the practice. Now, along with this, one needs to understand that the upper back and the neck have a lot of strain, especially in modern times when we are on our computers for a long time. I plead guilty to that, being on my computer a long time, and again with our mobile phones, and we are constantly in a position where the whole upper back and neck is like tight. So it is very important to loosen it. So, just things like even, rotating your shoulders back, rotating them forward. This is the type of thing. Just simple movements like this once in a while. You could do it in your office. You could do it wherever you are. Just simple. And if you want to get it even better, what you could do is that you could, place your hands a bit here and that sort of gives you with your elbow, with your elbow, this type of movement. So when you do it, you come up. If you can bring your elbows together like in the Manduka, that's very nice. And giving a nice rotation, and then the other way, moving the other way. And then bringing your elbows together, taking them out, elbows together, taking them out, elbows together, taking them. So when you do this type of movement, what you are doing is that you are really opening up the whole shoulder, the neck, the upper back, and this type of movement really opens it up. Imagine you can take your elbows back and touch them. I cannot do it, but maybe some of you can. Forward, back. Excellent for opening up the shoulder, the neck, the back. Real good to do that. And if there's any tension, shake it a bit. Shake your neck a bit. Good. For those who watched BBC, the real Marigold Hotel, you had Henry and Paul coming to Saiter, and you saw them do. It's a very good way to get rid of any tensions that are there. Giving a good shake, catch hold of all the tensions, throw them out. Right. Now, for this area, the other thing we can do is, as I said, when we were doing this, we brought our elbows together, so you could come into the Manduka. This Manduka Mudra is a very beautiful practice because you take your hands back, bring your elbows. If you can get your elbows joining each other, well and good. If not, at least do it like I'm doing. An excellent practice to bring awareness into the upper part of the back. This is actually one of the mudras we use when we are doing Adhyam Pranayama. Breathing into the upper chest region. Such a relief that is. When you do this Manduka, what you are doing is that you are placing your palms on the upper back. And when your mind is focused into that, you are able to focus your mind and the prana as you breathe into the upper part of the lungs. The apical areas of your lungs in the back, which we don't even think about. Most people forget they have lungs that are on the back and the side. They only think about the front. You say breathe in, it's like there's nothing about here. And when you do the Manduka, along with opening up your neck, the shoulders, the upper back, it's a beautiful opening. I tell you, the relief it gives is amazing relief. But it also enhances your upper chest breathing, Adhyam Pranayama. And the upper chest breathing supplies the head and the neck region. It energizes the head and the neck region. So definitely it gets stuff moving up here, which otherwise would not be moving. Some time back, we had a neurosurgeon come to us. And this neurosurgeon, he's an amazing guy who he'll always put his patients before himself, as any noble doctor would do. And so this guy, he had a pain in the neck, and what happened is that he had a collar on and all and was taking rest, and he got a call, a midnight call, that there's been a road traffic accident. He was called in to do a long surgery on a young boy who had an accident. And by the end of the surgery, this guy's neck had gone into a total spasm and such a pain that he didn't know what to do at all. So I remember him coming the next day to me, and we were having a talk, and he said, Dr. Ananda, what can I do about this? And we were talking on different things. He says, right now I'm in such pain, I need to do something. So I don't know what it was. Often in your consultations, you have these gut feelings. So I said, okay, let's do this. And so we went into the Manduka. And the moment he went into the Manduka, it was quite amazing. This going into the Manduka, suddenly he had such an amazing relief. He said, Dr. Ananda, I feel so good. I said, wonderful, you can stop doing it. He said, no, I feel so good, I'm not going to stop doing it. And he actually, from our office to his house, which was about 1 kilometer away, he walked home like this actually. Because he said, I just feel so good doing this that I'm going to walk home like that. It was amazing because even though I've seen the benefits of yoga happen for people, this type of immediate benefit is always something that really strikes you. And he had this pain that couldn't move and all. And this Manduka just opened up something where the energy was flowing, and he just felt so good he couldn't stop doing it. It's quite amazing actually the effect this Manduka can have. Manduka is quite an amazing practice for the upper back and the neck region when we talk about spinal health. So never forget this, because you think, oh, all those complicated practices I need to do. No, Manduka is good enough and it gives you a lot. And you look like a frog. So that's good to look like a frog once in a while, okay? And when you think you look too good, look like a frog. Okay, fine. Then another one which is very popular and very useful is what we call the Gomukha Mudra, where you bring one hand behind and you take the other hand and you clasp your hands and then you look up. Now, normally many people just do it this way. But actually you need to look up at the elbow. If you look up at the elbow, your whole upper back and the neck gets an amazing stretch. I tell you, this is one of those practices that really works on your upper back, neck region and creates amazing health. Then the opposite side, bringing this hand behind, catching, and then looking up at your elbow. It's an excellent practice. If you can catch and do it, really it opens up your whole upper back, the shoulder, the neck. Manduka Mudra and this Gomukha Mudra. These two are amazing practices. If there's any tension, just shake it a little bit, do a little bit of your disco, yoga disco. Shake and the Manduka and the Gomukha Mudras. These are amazing practices for the whole shoulder, our neck, the upper back, the upper chest region. They give such a sense of relief because we are always tight. This is an area where we are always tightened up. And it actually enables us to let go. So now many people say, Dr. Ananda, I cannot catch my hands behind my back. Well, I also cannot do it. So don't feel bad about it. But you just do your best. They say, can I do something else where I can catch my hands? So I said, well, there's a lazy man's version. And if you want a lazy man's version, ask a lazy person. So ask Dr. Ananda. So what you do is just, you are going to do this. So I am clasping my hands. You can see I'm clasping. But I'm not going behind my back. I'm just going here, behind my neck. And I still get quite an amazing pull across my right and left elbows through the whole upper back and shoulder. So you can still get quite a bit, even with this modified version, an adaptation for people who, due to the shoulder, and see, if your arms are not long and you have tight shoulders and a big body, it's going to be sometimes a bit tough to catch your hands behind. So we can do it this way. So now let's do the other side, okay? Looking up and giving yourself a nice stretch. Feel those elbows pull apart across the whole upper back, the neck, the whole back, the shoulder. Beautiful sense of opening up. That really feels so good. So, two of the mudras, Manduka, Gomukha. Manduka. Remember, Manduka means a frog. Okay. So if you look at the frog limbs, they have this type of pointiness. So this gives that pointiness of the frog limbs. Then the second one is your Gomukha. Go is cow. In this, Mukha means face. So when you do this Gomukha, for some reason they feel it looks like the face of a cow. And some of the kids have made artistic depictions of this with the ear and the horn, and yeah, okay, it does start to look a bit like it. So these two, along with the third one, which is, our Tala. In our Tala, what we do is that we interlock the fingers and then we give a good stretch. So these three, Manduka, Gomukha and the Tala, these three are amazing practices. They are part of my Yoga in Your Office series. We had a DVD on office yoga, thanks to Naveenji, and my dear sister Vibha was part of it. And quite a beautiful DVD. I think some of the videos are on the YouTube. If you look in the Geetanjali or that Learn Yoga channel that Naveenji runs with our videos, you can see them. A very beautiful Tala. The Tala is quite amazing. These three, Manduka, Gomukha and Tala, for anybody who's stuck at the office, at the desk for a long time, desk yoga, the stress on the neck, the upper back and the shoulders, These are practices you could do from your place. You could do them seated. You could doing them on your bed when you get up in the morning. Whenever you feel a sense of tightness, this type of stretch. Now I'm going to give you a secret. I can see you all sitting there. What's that going to be? Huh? Yeah, the secret is how to stretch a bit more. Okay, so you have got there. You have got into this. You think you have done the most. Now all you have to do is start turning your head to the right and to the left. And now if you stretch up, you will find that a few more centimeters or maybe even an inch you can stretch when you do your head like this. This movement of the head from right to left gives you an even much better stretch. And then you let go. So you think you have given a stretch. After that, you start this slight movement of the spine, of the head to the right and left. And presto, you realize that there's a few more centimeters or maybe even an inch that you can stretch that you had not stretched. Remember what I said yesterday. When you stretch a muscle, you are inducing a sense of relaxation in that muscle. Because muscles are based on the activity which is contraction. For example, there's a muscle that runs from here to here. Now what happens when this muscle contracts, this movement happens. When it relaxes, this happens. So the stretch is elongating the muscle, which is actually relaxing the muscle, as opposed to when I do this, which is contracting the muscle. Now most physical activities are based on contraction of muscles. You're always contracting the muscle. Here in yoga, the concept of you are stretching the muscle. That is why often people try to put yoga under stretching exercises. All the headings under which yoga is put. It's amazing. But anyway, yes, you do stretch. And what do? You are not stretching. See, this is not just letting go, but you are letting go in an active manner. You are consciously letting go and you are stretching. So here what I'm doing is when I'm doing this, I am stretching. And then when I do this, a few more centimeters. Wow, that feels good. Really good. Amazing, wow. The whole spine getting a beautiful stretch. And then when you do this, you know what you are doing? You are pulling each of those vertebrae apart. You are creating a space in which your discs, if they are hydrated, and it is so amazing. I've been talking to all of you about hydration, and the last 2-3 days I was not feeling so well. And yesterday I realized maybe I was dehydrated. It's been so hot and humid here, been sweating so much that I didn't realize how much the heat exhaustion was coming in. And heat exhaustion is a very, very real phenomena here in the tropics. And last night I realized it and got hydrated and slept much better, woke up much better today. So never discount the hydration part. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So if you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. That's the bottom line. And I think one has to be more careful there. So 3 practices today which are focusing on the upper back, the upper part of the spine, the neck and the shoulders. 1, the Manduka. 2, the Gomukha with Dr. Ananda's lazy man version also. And then the third is the Tala stretch, which is like, when you go to a hospital, later on I'll talk about the full Tala stretch. If you go to the hospital with a back or neck problem and they find that there's compression, what they start to do is they put you on what is called traction. And so what is done is that you are made to lie in your bed, and on one end, that is towards your feet, they put a certain weight, and towards your head, they put a certain weight. And what they try to do is through that weight, pull your vertebrae apart, creating space so the intervertebral discs can come back into the normal space. They forget the discs need to be hydrated for that to happen. If the discs are not hydrated, you pull and you come back to the same place. But if you are hydrated and you pull your spine apart, traction, what happens is the discs which are hydrated can swell and fill that space. They can come back into their natural space we are creating space for healing to occur. So traction is a very good idea, but it's not so comfortable. But here what we are doing is, when you are doing this, it is like you are giving a self-traction. It is amazing, I tell you. Self-traction is so essential for the spine. Rather than having somebody put a weight on the other side, you are creating self-traction. You are creating a beautiful sense of traction here. And it's not just the upper spine. I tell you, when you do this, right from my tailbone, my tail is wiggling. Yes, I'm so happy my tail is wagging. And right up to the top, all the intervertebral spaces are being given a beautiful stretch. In case you have been doing it with me, which I hope you have, because yes, you don't know about Dr. Ananda. I can see all of you what you are doing. That's one of my siddhis, that you think only you can see me, I can see you, because the moment you connect with me, I connect with you. And I'm starting to sound like somebody I don't like. So no, I'm not going to say that. See, please understand. When we stretch like this, what we are doing is the self-traction is creating an opportunity for all these vertebrae to align themselves and for the intervertebral discs to come back into the space. Many of them are prolapsed. Many of them are dehydrated. Many of them have been compressed. Many of them have been squeezed out of their spot and they have gone out. Slipped disc. They call it a slipped disc, a prolapsed disc, a herniated disc. You have all these terms. Basically, it means that there's no space, and so the intervertebral disc didn't know what to do, so it tried to escape through the window. And it puts its head out the window and gets stuck like small children do with railings in the mall, the supermarket. Yeah, that's what it's done. It's put its head out and doesn't know what to do. It cannot come back. Now, the moment you start to create space, it's like pulling the bars apart so that the kid can get their head back. Same thing. When you stretch, when you create this type of self-traction, you are giving a chance for things to come back into normalcy. Okay? So 3 practices for today. Manduka. Okay? Manduka. What is that? Frog. So Mr. Frog or Mrs. Frog gets the spine going good. And then Gomukha, Mr. or Mrs. Mr. Bull, Mr. sounds funny. Mr. Bull and Mrs. Cow. Oh my God. Imagine calling somebody a cow face. Oh my God, seriously. The yogis are so funny. Gomukha. I just love the humor in that. You know what? Along with that, when you do these practices, you actually, you are simulating that experience. You are starting to understand what frogs feel like, so that maybe some of your princesses will kiss them also and make them a prince. And you start to understand what the bovine nature is like. You start to respect cows. You respect the bulls, and then for God's sake, you're not going to eat them, okay? If you respect them and you know what they feel like, you're not going to eat them. It's very simple. I tell you, the yogis were so smart. They said, if you know what the other person is like, if you know what the other person experiences, there's no other person anymore. It's just you. But if you don't know the other person and you don't know what they are going through, then there's you and them. There's duality. But when you know them, there's no them. It's just you. And it's such a marvelous psychosomatic, somatopsychic aspect. And then you give this self-traction and give a good stretch. And remember Dr. Ananda's secret? Turning your head and it goes up from here. That happens. You get that extra inch. And I tell you, it's a lovely feeling across the whole spine. We'll keep this going, and there are so many things to share. Oh my God, I don't know where we are going to end with this. But anyway, thank you for spending your time with me, and hope these practices help you. And till next time, have a wonderful time wherever you are.